on the face of it, it sounds like an interesting concept. And this is reversed mortgage or reverse mortgage. It's something that is seemingly more prevalent in places like Europe, in places like the US. And ultimately, the concept is that you have a house, you own it, you you basically are taking money from the bank. The bank is paying you an EMI over the course of a particular period, and at the end of that period, the house goes to the bank. Is that how it works?
I think that's a fair summary. At the end of the period, you owe the bank money, and you have a choice. You can either pay that outstanding principal and get back your house, or if you don't have the outstanding principal, then the bank will dispose of the house and pay the difference back to the people who are inheriting. Let's just work with the example here, Alex, because that's what I find really helps our listeners get the concept. So let's say you have a 1 crore house, right? But today, reverse mortgage rate in India is about 11%. Now, keep in mind, 11% versus 8% is different, right? 11% is what you pay as interest on a reverse mortgage. 8%, right, is what you pay on a home loan. So it's fairly expensive. And one could say it's a product that, though very, very popular in America, and, who knows, right? I do believe, like you said, and we have, discussed this also at Bank Bazaar, that as people, start staying by themselves in their old age, as they need annuities, this might become popular. So anyway, here's what happens. You tell the bank that I want a reverse mortgage on my 1 crore property. The bank firstly will say, okay, there's an LTV I can underwrite. The LTV is about 55%. So they're saying that,
let me stop you there, just so that we know what everyone knows what we're talking about. LTV is loan to value. Adil, just to drive home that point, to give you an example, if you were to go for a mortgage loan today, a home loan today, the home becomes the underlying security that is hypothecated to the bank. The bank essentially is using this as collateral. And you don't get the entire value of the house as a loan. You get a percentage of the value of the house as the loan, and that is called the loan to value. Adil, apologies for interrupting you.
No, that was a great clarification, Alex. So on a reverse mortgage, typically the LTV being offered in India is about 55%. Some of the leading banks are offering a reverse mortgage at 11%. Now, this is the exact opposite of a home loan. And allow me to express it this way, right, which listeners will find very interesting. This is like the bank paying you a monthly EMI. So rather than you paying the bank has hypothecated your property and is paying you every month. Now, if I have a 1 crore property and I have a loan to value, which the bank is willing to build up of 55 lakhs, essentially at 11% for 20 years, right, the bank is willing to pay you 6,000 rupees per month. Now, as 6,000 rupees per month accumulates at 11% interest, at the end of 20 years, this becomes a 55 lakh outstanding principal that the bank has given you. So this is the way the product works. I can give my 1 crore reverse mortgage to the bank. I, as the bank, will say, great, I have your security. Please take 6,000 rupees every month, which I'll pay into your account. You are going to pay me 11% reverse mortgage rate. At the end of 20 years, right, I've extended you a 55 lakh loan. Oh. Now, you pay me the 55 lakh loan, and I'll give you back your house, right? Because your house, which was 1 crore when you reverse mortgaged it, could now be worth, I don't know, 1.25 crores. It could be worth 1.5 crores or whatever it might be. But if you pay me my 55 lakhs back, you get your house back. So that's how the product works. There's an interesting comparison, but I'll just pause here if you have any questions. And then I want to tell you what would have happened if you sold your house and put that 1 crore in an FD.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like a not so good deal, Adil, let me be honest. It sounds like somebody's going to get the raw end of a deal right now. Why would I go for that? It's 6,000 rupees for a 1 crore property that will become the bank's at the end of 20 years. That sounds like a bad deal.
Yeah, see, this product is not very popular in India. It's also not very competitive, right? So does it need to be 11% interest rate over time? Will we see that come closer to the home loan rate of 8% currently prevailing? Let's see. But I'll tell you why I do agree with you, Alex. And let's explore this a little further with some examples that, we've calculated at Bank Bazaar. So what we find is, let's say you took this 1 crore and you put it in an FD. which is paying you a 7%, right? And I'm talking about pre-tax here. Let's assume you're in a lower tax bracket, you're a senior citizen, because typically for a reverse mortgage also, you're at least 55, if not 60. Now, your monthly earning, Alex, is 58,000 rupees per month on that 1 crore FD. So now Alex is asking me, saying, Adil, why would I take 6,000 rupees a month instead of earning 58,000 rupees a month on that FD? That's your question, right, Alex?
Yeah.
Can I proceed to
No,
answer?
please do, but that implies, Adil, that you're selling the property.
That implies you're selling the property. So you hit the nail on the head. So let's come point by point, right? So point number one, right? Essentially, I've sold the property, all right? So I don't own that property, and I have no way of owning the growth in home equity in that property, because in 20 years, that 1 crore property can be worth 1.5 crores. I have no party to it. The property is out of my hand. Secondly, right, now I have to rent, all right? So let's just add the rental value, Alex. So a great rental yield would be a 4% per annum. So let's say I was renting out a property of 1 crore. I'm probably going to be paying about 33,000, which I'm now going to shell out. So from my 58,000, you have to net out the 33,000, and you have to net out the 6,000. But still, right, I'm making significantly more, right? So let's say I'm making, about 20,000 rupees more than I was making with the reverse mortgage. But to the final point, right, because everything in life is a trade-off, Alex, and there's no free lunch.
Yeah.
The difference here is at the end of the period, I have my FD of 1 crore. I don't have my property with its appreciation, which I would have had access to, right?
I wanted to discuss, let me be clear, I wanted to discuss this as a concept that might eventually come to the fore. We're hearing every day people are not having children, right? And while DINK is a concept that a lot of people are gravitating towards for various reasons, there are implications of that as well. And I guess that is a conversation for another day. Thanks so much for joining me on this program. Pleasure having you.